Hello everyone, this is Dinesh Kumar here from the Political Machan Comments. How are you guys? I hope all of you are doing well and you guys are taking necessary steps to keep yourself healthy and safe as our country is still going through a pandemic. For the channel's first commentary video since I launched it in March, I would like to talk about Anwar Ibrahim's backdoor government plan because I think it's about time that we started to talk about this topic. So, as many of us know, Anwar Ibrahim announced on Friday, 8th of October, that he will be meeting His Royal Highness Yang di-Pertuan Agong on the coming 13th October to present to His Majesty a list of members of Parliament that are supporting him to become the next Prime Minister and taking away Putrajaya from Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin and Perikatan Nasional. He previously claimed on a press conference that he arranged on 23rd of September that he has a strong, convincing and formidable majority support needed to form the next government. I have to be honest with you guys, I am not excited at all with Anwar Ibrahim's plan. As a matter of fact, I am very disappointed that he is willing to take this road, which is to form a backdoor government, so that he can fulfill his lifelong dream of becoming a Prime Minister. In my opinion, his backdoor government plan, reeks of desperation and hypocrisy as well. It is important for us to highlight that. At this moment, I have a lot of questions that I think all of us need to ask to Anwar Ibrahim regarding his backdoor government plan, such as, first of all, can his component party, can the Pakatan Harapan component party, Amanah and TAP, work along with Member of Parliament, the MPs from UMNO who are allegedly supporting Anwar Ibrahim in his backdoor government plan? Because we need to acknowledge this fact. People voted for Pakatan Harapan in the 14th general election to kick out the kleptocratic Barisan Nasional led by UMNO. And many of these Pakatan Harapan supporters are still with the coalition despite the coalition's lackluster performance during its 22 months in power, especially when it comes to fulfilling its reform-based promises. The coalition did not do well. We need to acknowledge that. And still, Pakatan Harapan supporters, they still kept their support for the coalition because they felt that the coalition is way better than the UMNO-led Barisan Nasional, which they believe is very corrupt. Now, with Anwar's backdoor government plan with these MPs from UMNO, we need to ask whether or not DAP and Amanah work together with these MPs without angering their voter base. Because I think that DAP and Amanah, they are taking huge risks here. Because if they supported this plan despite knowing that there are some UMNO MPs backing it, and for me, I don't think that on a long term this kind of a cooperation will be beneficial for these two parties when it comes to maintaining their support. For DAP, we need to think what would their Chinese voter think, because we know the Chinese voters mostly are anti-Barisan voters. If I'm not mistaken, 95% of them voted for PH in the last general election. So can you imagine how pissed off the Chinese voters will be if they found out that DAP is going to work along with some of these MPs from UMNO in Anwar Ibrahim's government? I have no idea how is this going to work. So the next question will be, why do Malaysians need another backdoor government at the moment when the country is in the middle of a pandemic that has infected more Malaysians at the moment? So many of us know that since the Sabah snap election that took place on 26th of September, there has been spike in a number of infected individuals nationwide. At the moment, Sabah is under temporary MCO from 3rd of October until 16th October, and some districts in the Semenanjung has been placed under temporary enhanced movement control order. So at this moment where more Malaysians are getting infected, where more Malaysians are getting worried, thinking about the state of economy now that this pandemic seems to have worsened a bit, even though, to be honest, the situation is still very much under control. Do we really need another change of government? in the span of like what, 8 months since Perikatan Nasional took power. I mean, that too was a backdoor government as well. Yeah. So if this Anwar Ibrahim's backdoor government plan were to be successful, we are going to have two backdoor governments who were in power in the time span of just 8 months. Do we really need this kind of politics at the moment? I mean, you have to see the reactions from the social media about that. People are very, very angry. They just pissed at the fact that Anwar Ibrahim is going to stage a backdoor government, technically a legislative coup in the middle of a pandemic. They didn't like it when Muhyiddin Yassin did it, when the pandemic was in the beginning, and they still hate it when Anwar Ibrahim is doing it now. So the third question, can Anwar Ibrahim's government fully commit to the reform agenda promised in the Buku Harapan manifesto? For a very long time, Anwar Ibrahim, as many of us know, has been presenting himself as a reformist who can change the country for the better. He regularly speaks about battling corruption, the need to transition from race-based affirmative action policy to a needs-based affirmative action, rejecting racist politics, and so on. But now with him aligning himself with, I'm not saying whether it's aligning himself. I would say that now with some of the UMNO MPs aligning with him to form a new federal government, can his government commit to the same reform agenda outlined in the Buku Harapan manifesto? Because I don't think that this government can commit itself to such reform agenda, because if you look at the Buku Harapan manifesto, some of the reform promises outlined in that manifesto will be seen as too liberal or too progressive for UMNO MPs. So it is very likely that if Anwar wanted to make sure that these UMNO MPs to continue supporting his government until the end of term, I think it is very likely that he might have to put aside some of the reforms in order to placate these UMNO MPs, to avoid them from being, how to say, just to keep them in the administration, because the UMNO MPs very likely they do not want any meaningful reforms to take place in this government, which is going to radically change the way how they've been playing politics. Because we know for a very long time, people in Barisan Nasional, for the last 60 plus years, they have been using politics as a way to enrich themselves and their family members. This is how they've been playing politics, and now you're going to have a Pakatan Harapan-led government who's going to promise all these reform things that might change how politics works. I don't think these UMNO MPs want that kind of reforms to take place, and it's very likely that should this government be formed, one of the first few things that they're going to do to Anwar is that to force him to keep aside all these reforms. And then the next question that I'm going to ask is, of course, the most important question is definitely the numbers, but at the moment I don't want to talk about that because we still have like 1 day before Anwar's meeting with His Royal Highness. I mean, today is Sunday, tomorrow is Monday, so we just left with 1 more day. So as such, I would like to wait for the actual day, because I think on that day he will definitely unveil the list of that so-called strong, formidable and convincing majority. Yeah, I think we will see the list on that day. Yeah, I think he will definitely make it public lah. Yeah. So those are the questions that I really like to ask to Anwar Ibrahim. Look, I mean, at this moment, I just want to wait and see what is going to happen on Tuesday. Yeah, and I suggest all of you guys to do the same. I mean, let us not make any more speculations. We just still have 1 more days left, so let us wait until the day. Yeah, but I would say this: I'm not very happy with this Anwar's backdoor government plan. It is totally hypocritical for him to do so. I mean, earlier this year, I mean, when the Pakatan Harapan government fell, he condemned party hopping, and then now he's resorting to the same kind of politics so that he can become the next prime minister. I mean, party hopping is wrong, regardless of who does it. If UMNO people does it, it is wrong. When PH people does it, it is wrong as well. Yeah, for a very long time, both Pakatan Harapan and Barisan Nasional has been enabling party hopping politics for a very long time. It's about damn time we change it. I think that we need to introduce recall elections to give power to the people to sack off their MPs who have defected to another party, regardless of whether their MPs are from Pakatan or they are from Perikatan or Barisan Nasional. So that is all from me. Thank you for watching the videos. If you guys have any questions you guys want to ask, you guys can ask in the YouTube, in the channel's comment section. I will answer them. So on the next video, I am going to talk about the present mechanisms to address party hopping, which is anti-hopping law, and another one which is recall election. So I'm going to talk about these two mechanisms, and I will post this video on the YouTube channel. So that is all from me. Thank you and have a good week ahead.